Alrighty, traders, hello everyone. Today, the markets are really strong right now, and there's a really big few key concepts that I really want to share with you around this market that I think is really important to understand about these markets and how to trade them, how to understand them, and some really simple things, but I think it's gonna, well, I definitely know it's gonna help you out. If you do need some help with your trading, guys, there should be a link in the description there. Click on that. You're going to get access to a free training that I did walking you through my trading system. Also, my system is going to email you a free trading course, and also I'm going to start to do some live trainings for my list only and not for YouTube. So if you want to be on that list and be part of those live trainings that I do just for the list only, more like an inner circle, insider trainings for them, then make sure that you are on my list, and so therefore you can grab all that sort of stuff. There's a link in the description there. So let's actually start off with the actual stock market, and I'll get on the silver and gold right now. So the rule number one that I've been sort of harping on, or really going into depth with you guys, is that I really want you to be thinking about the foundations of how you're approaching these markets and how can we set the game up to win. And I've talked a lot about, over the last couple of months, I've talked a lot about how trying to have a strategy where it's against the markets, right? Where you're looking for divergent setups, which is generally like you're going against the overall market. Or you're looking for heads and shoulder patterns and stuff like that, trying to go against the market, right? One of the really bad things about that sort of approach is that most of the time you're going to get run over, okay? And when you do make a profit, it's probably going to be a small profit and going to be big losses. So if you think about that as an approach, right, with your own trading, is that you're not setting the game up to win, right? We want to set the game up to win. Now, how do we set the game up to win? Because we're going to go through our times where we're going to have our losing trades, right? So we want to be in a position where we can get into trades. We can have some losses. We're going to have those losses. We can have some profits. But we also want to be in positions where we can have a good, even a small percent, say 20% of our profitable trades be big profitable trades that last good 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. One of my biggest trades this year has been 6 weeks, right? That did 400% return on an option trade. So the whole thing about that through there is that, especially when it comes down to the actual market itself right now, right? So if we have a look at the Russell, what's the Russell still doing to this day? And I know you may have heard this before, guys, but I really want you to understand this when you're trying to get involved with these markets. Rule number one is what's the trend, and never trade against the trend. Okay, I promise you this. And then on the caveat of that, look for opportunities to go with the trend, right? So if the market is making higher lows in the markets, right? And I know this sounds really simple, and some people say, John, you talk about the same thing all the time, because it's some of the most powerful things out there, and still people are still missing the point when it comes to a lot of these really amazing things that's really going to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I really want to help you out. And so when it comes down to your own personal trading, is that whenever we start to see a trend in place, meaning lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, same lows, and now we're making another higher low, whenever we start to get that in place, we know the buyers are starting to come in through here, right? The market's talking to us and the buyers are starting to come in. If that's the case, we don't want to be looking for shorts here, because the market is still saying the buyers are more active than the sellers here, because they keep, higher lows. They keep raising their prices. They keep making these higher lows. So therefore, the probability of having a good trade is probably more like on the long side. Even with this choppy action, look at this here. That was the long move. 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 And what was the short move? The short move was there, and then here, and then even here, right? So even with this choppy action we're getting right now on the Russell, and I'm just utilizing the Russell as an example, is we can see what's going on from there, right? So that's the really big thing that I see from there, And then also what I'm noticing is, if I actually just squeeze my charts up a little bit more here, we're starting to get the moving average we're starting to get the moving average coming up like that overall. Whenever we do get that, that's a very strong, I use that as a momentum indicator, right? So it's very, very, very strong on the upside when it comes to the Russell from there. Let's go look at the S&P 500. And the same thing for the S&P 500, right? The S&P 500 is definitely at a point where we can see the market is still what? The market's still really making these strong, strong higher lows, right? We can see here lows, or actually, let me just bring this up through to here, okay? So lows, higher lows, and now look what's happening right now, right? Very strong higher low from here, right? Very strong higher low in the markets. So this is what we're seeing through here. So remember, we don't want to be making our trading more difficult than what it needs to be, okay? And so the first thing is to go with the trend from there. So that's the S&P 500. We're still making very strong higher lows, and notice that the buyers have come in very, very, very strong from here. We look at the Nasdaq. Look what's happened through here. The buyers are coming back in again, and some people have been focusing on the head and shoulder formation. And I told people not to be focusing on that, because we should be focusing on not the head and shoulders, but the trend analysis. And look what's happened right now. We had this low point. Look what's happening right now. Now we're developing what? We're developing another higher low, aren't we? What does that mean? The buyers are starting to come back in again. So people have been focused on this big head and shoulder formation. And if you're short the markets right now looking for a top, again, why are you looking for tops in markets, right? When you know at least 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, you're going to be wrong, right? Because 8 times out of 10, it doesn't form a top and it just keeps going up. And maybe 20, 30% of the time, you're right. That doesn't make sense to you, right? Like, why are you having an approach of looking for these patterns when you know most of the time they don't form out? Why not go flip it on its head and say, well, why not be in a strategy where it could be right 7, 8 times out of 10, maybe 9 times out of 10, right? Where we can now flip it on its head, right? Make trading much more easier for it, and then it's off. And the Dow Jones as well too. And this is something I was talking about today with my coaching client. I was talking to him about where the market's really, the market is really starting to trend strong through here. So this could be this could be the mock charge before a really, really strong move to the upside. Look at this here. Now we're making a higher low from here, and now we're making a higher low. And as you guys know, if you've been watching me now for the last few months, you would know that for all of this time, I have always been saying, even on when we got the drop on, when we got this drop here, let's go to the weekly chart, when we got these drops here on the Nasdaq, when we got this drop here, even this really big drop here down here on the S&P, right? If you've been following me, you would know that I've been saying, no guys, the market's still in a strong upward trend, market's still in a strong upward trend, market's still in a strong upward trend, right? Don't freak out, don't worry, stay calm, all this sort of stuff, right? Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to show you how do I stay calm within these markets so you can make really good trading decisions, okay? So that's what I'm seeing through there, guys, when it comes to the markets. Really, really, really strong, especially the Dow Jones, right? Especially if I bring up, let me bring up the actual bar charts from here for a minute. Actually, you know what? We'll do this here. Let's actually I'll bring up one with all the moving averages. Okay, cool, right? So we can see through here, if I squeeze my charts up a bit more from here, we can see that the buyers are really coming in strong here, and we're starting to get the moving average starting to increase strong. I use the moving average like a momentum indicator. So when it goes flat, see how it's all flat through here? That tells me that the market is flat. When the market starts to really increase up through there, guess what? Now we're starting to get a very strong momentum in that direction there. And that's what I'm seeing from there. Let's move over now through to silver and gold. And very, very, very exciting stuff for silver and gold. This is the start of something really, I believe this is the start of this next really big move from here. We're now getting the buyers coming back in on silver, right? So if I bring up this chart here and bring up the last 6 months, look what's happening here, right? We had this low point through here, and now we've had this higher low come into place, and also we're breaking out of that level through there, right? Maybe even up through there somewhere. So what's that telling me is that there's a lot of buyers starting to come back into play of silver, right? So low, high, low, and the buyers are really starting to come back into play right now. So we should start to see some really nice moves from there. If we go look at the actual gold price as well too, we can see the gold price had a really nice upward move from here. We've been doing really nothing ever since April, right? Went sideways, and we slowly crawled up and bam, really big, strong breakout bar today. If you go to the GLD price, you can see that we've also got, if I bring up the last sort of 3 months with that, actually, you know what, let me bring up this chart here, right? And the reason why I'm bringing up this chart here for you is, let me bring on the last 6 months, the last 3 months, okay? While we're seeing through here, look at this here, low, higher low, higher low, and higher low. Let's look at all this sideways movement. Look at this breakaway bar today. The start, I believe, of another really good move out of gold. But look at this volume here. This is really, really key. Whenever you do get this combination of sideways small bars with low volume, which is below my moving, I see my moving average through there, low volume. Then we get a small bar sideways, small volume, breakaway bar, good volume, above my moving average, as you can see, if I bring it up through there. Notice how it's much, much, much higher today. What's that telling you? That's telling you now that this is now likely to take on some serious price action from here, right? Or we're likely to take another move. I've always had a 3,000 target on gold. So if I go back to the actual gold price, right, and gold's actually making a move, I've always had a 3,000 target on gold. And so whether that happens today or not, but looking at this gold chart from here, really, really, really strong. And again, look at all this sideways movement from here. And now we're getting a very strong breakaway bar. So if you guys, this actually is very, very close to this is actually really, really nicely from a trading perspective. Again, guys, if you want to know exactly what the trading setup looks like that I use the actual link in the description there. You'll be able to see that from there. Let's go look at, actually I'll bring back up the candlestick for you guys, but this is what the candlestick charts look like. Nice breakaway bar after this sideways movement. We are likely to take on some really nice price action, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. The GDX. What's happening with the GDX? Lows. See, still making higher lows, right? But we also made a what? Today we made a 50. Look at this here, 50 to 60% held. It actually hasn't held in the last couple of times, but it held through here, and now we're going to the upside, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful movement to the upside. The GDXJ, lows, high lows, high lows, high lows, high lows. So the buyers are still holding here quite nicely, even on the GDXJ, and we're still pushing up. Look at the volume, the massive volume in the mining sector today. Massive, massive, massive volume in the metals and miners today from that perspective from there. And so this is what we're looking at the SIL as well too. The SIL has been doing nothing for all this time through here when it comes to this sort of daily charts. But if we look at this weekly chart, look at this. One thing I'm always trying to see is where is the long-term trend. And this is my 24 moving average. Whenever the 24 moving average does something like that, it tells me there's a lot of strong momentum in that direction. So if we do start to get something like this going on, a very nice sideways drop to the downside, this sideways drop to the downside, if it is in conjunction of a very strong moving average, then we're probably likely to get something like this up, over or down, and back up again, right? In the direction of the moving average from there. So there we go, traders. There's an update for you across the markets. Rule number one, guys, is what's the trend and never trade against the trend. And I know that you guys have heard me say that a few times here, but now you can see the reasons why. Is waiting for opportunities to go with the markets instead of trying to go against it is always going to be the best case, because you trying to short the metals and miners right now, you're getting run over. You trying to short the Nasdaq because there's a head and shoulder formation, you're getting run over.